What's up, guys? It's Carly with FasciNATIVE English, where if you are finally ready to take your English to another level and to begin speaking English like a native English speaker, then you've come to the right place. So let's get into it. What's up, guys? I have another spooky Halloween idiom for you all today, and today's idiom is devil's advocate. Again, that is devil's advocate. All right. Now, what could this idiom mean? This idiom just means to present the other side of an argument, even if you don't personally support it. All right. To present the other side of an argument, even if you don't personally support it. All right. Devil's advocate. So naturally, you can hear a sentence maybe, thank you for playing devil's advocate, or he played devil's advocate for me, or, I have to play devil's advocate sometimes, You might hear sentences along these lines, all right? Devil's advocate, which just means to present the other side of an argument, even if you don't really personally support it, all right? Devil's advocate. So of course I have a story for you all today, just like always. And my story is, back in 2007, I got the opportunity to go to Europe with my school. We partnered with a group called EF Tours, and they took a bunch of us students over to Europe for 2 weeks, and we went to 7 countries during those 2 weeks. Now, I wanted to go so bad. I really wanted to go to Europe, and I begged my parents.
Please! Okay.
Because your girl had just watched the Lizzie McGuire movie.
I have to show you something. Come on. I just thought you should see Rome the way Romans do.
And I was like, this is gonna be me. I'm gonna meet my Paolo. Paolo, the singer, in the movie. I'm gonna meet him and we're gonna fall in love at the Trevi Fountain, and this is gonna be it. That's what my teenage mind thought. That's what Europe was like. Basically just boys. Obviously, I loved history as well, and I loved traveling. I always have loved traveling. I probably will always love to travel. So I was like, dude, this is perfect. This is perfect for me, And the fact that your parents weren't allowed to come, it was like students and chaperones only, and the chaperones were the teachers. So I was like, ooh, this is exciting. I want to do this. Of course, I asked my parents.
Not just asked.
I begged.
To my parents for weeks, maybe even months, if I can go on this trip. And every time they were like, Carly, no, you're not going on that trip.
No.
And so finally I made a PowerPoint presentation. Yep, you heard me. I made a PowerPoint presentation.
PowerPoint.
Of all the reasons my parents should allow me to go on this trip. I presented it to my parents, with a little clicker, click, I should be able to go on this trip because of all these different things, all these different reasons, At the end of the PowerPoint presentation, I had this feeling like it could go 50-50. I feel like I did a really good job at convincing my parents, hey, this trip could change the course of my life. This trip could be it for me. It could be the big thing that happens in my life, the big event. But also I was thinking my parents probably could care less, and I'm still not going. At the end of the PowerPoint, my dad surprised me, and he was like, you know what? Let me talk to your mom some more on it. And I was like, oh, they didn't say no. They didn't say no. I was so excited, oh, this is good. This is a step in the right direction. They didn't turn me down, right off the bat. This could be a good thing.
A win is a win.
Later that day, and actually over the course of the next couple of days, I guess my parents had talked, and they decided to let me go on this trip, on this Europe trip, 2 weeks in Europe with my school. And when my dad came back to tell me, hey, we decided to let you go, he said, I had to play devil's advocate here because your mom really doesn't want you to go. And I kind of don't really want you to go either. But I know it's something that you really want to do. And I know it will be good for you in the long run to get out there, experience different cultures, different countries, different languages, different cuisines. He's like, I know it will be good for you and your growth as a person into, a teenager into adulthood. He's like, I feel like this trip will be good for you. So even though your mother and I don't necessarily want you to go, their baby girl, I was like, what, 14? I actually turned 15. I had my 15th birthday while on that trip in Italy. So they were like, I don't really want you to go, my baby girl, flying by yourself. They've watched the movie Taken, so they were a little bit concerned.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. I can tell you I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. I will look for you. I will find you. And I will.
About that as well. But while they were concerned about all that could happen, all the bad things by watching the movie Taken, I was thinking about the Lizzie McGuire movie and all the good things that could happen to me in my life, and trying gelato ice cream for the first time and everything. So my parents were like, I think it would be good for you in the long run. So my dad, he said, yeah, I had to play devil's advocate here. I had to try to convince your mom and present your argument again once more to your mom, because I do think it will be good for you, even though I don't personally agree with my baby traveling halfway across the world for 2 weeks without me or her mom or any of her family members. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it will be good for you. So I'm going to allow you to go. And when my parents told me that, I was like, oh my gosh. I literally became like a different person. I was like, this is it. This is my era. This is my time to shine. Like, I started dressing differently. I started listening to a bunch of like Italian music, German music, like, places that I was going. Started studying a little bit. Like the company EF Tours, the tour group that we went on, they gave us different cheat sheets, I would say, of things to learn in like the language of the country we were going to. So like we first went to Amsterdam, the Netherlands, they speak Dutch. So they gave us like a list of like things you must learn. So I learned that, and then of course we went over to Germany and France, Italy, Austria, Switzerland, and then England as well. Was that 7 countries? I think so. We went to a bunch of countries, so they gave us different cheat sheets of like what you can learn in the language or whatever. So I learned different languages here and there. I learned different things, and it was honestly one of the best experiences of my life. I'm so thankful that my dad did play devil's advocate for me here and got my mom on board,
which is another expression we use.
But he got my mom on board to let me go on this trip, because I really do think it did change the course of my life. Prior to going to Europe, I hadn't really been outside the US. My family traveled to Mexico when I was young, but it was literally by car, and we were just like driving through, and it wasn't like a destination spot. We just happened to drive through while we were on our road trip. We were going from Florida to Utah, so we drove a lot of different places, and Mexico just happened to be one of them. It was a long time ago when you didn't really need a passport to enter. But I haven't really traveled outside the US before that, or even on a plane. Like, I had only gone to Indiana one time. My dad was doing business for a long time in Indiana, and my mom and I went to visit him, and I think my niece tagged along too. That was like the only other time that I had gone on a plane. So this was a lot of firsts for me. My first time going overseas, or out of the country, overseas, a different continent. My first time being away from my parents for so long. My first time being in a country that doesn't really speak English. Like, a lot of people do understand English, but all the countries I went to, especially back in 2007 when I went, they just automatically assumed that you were going to speak their language, which rightfully so. Here in America, we do this all the time. When you speak to someone, you automatically assume that they're going to speak English back to you. When you go to Europe, if you're in Germany, you just automatically assume that you guys are going to be speaking German, So it was like a lot of different firsts for me, first time doing a bunch of different things. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love not only with traveling, like the travel aspect of it. I feel like I decided that day that I will be perfectly fine living my life out of a suitcase for the rest of my life, because traveling is just so much fun and so adventurous. So I fell in love with that. I fell in love with different cultures and learning people's cultures. And then I also fell in love with different foods, Obviously, I love food, and I fell in love with like different cuisines and languages. I found the beauty in languages. Like, it's it's so beautiful to listen to another language, even if you don't really understand it. But Italian I think is a very beautiful language. French as well, a very beautiful language. So I fell in love with a lot of different things while on that trip. No Italian boys though. I did not fall in love with any Italian boys. Funny story, I know this is like kind of a longer video today. I almost did fall in love with an Italian boy. I almost had my Lizzie McGuire moment, but I was too scared. I was really scared, you guys. We had this hotel one night that was near a beach, and our curfew was like midnight. And we had finished our tours around 9 p.m., our tour and dinner and everything. So we had until midnight to be back in the hotel in our beds. And my friends and I, like they were my classmates, not really my close friends, but my classmates that were on the trip, and we decided to go to this beach and like just walk around and stuff. And this group of like older, really cute Italian boys approached us and wanted to hang out for the night, but they were like 18 and they wanted to go like clubbing and all this other stuff. And I was like, this is it. This is my Lizzie McGuire moment, but I'm too scared because I'm a goody two shoes. Like I'm a good little girl. And I'm only 14. My birthday was the next day. So that's another reason. They were like, your birthday's tomorrow. Like, this is the perfect time. Like, just live life and have fun. C'est la vie. And I was like, I'm scared my parents will murder me. I can't do that, But it almost happened. But I fell in love with everything else, except for Italian boy. But that's okay. I found my love later in life and everything. So I'm really glad that my dad did decide to play devil's advocate that day and allow me to go on this trip. And it changed the course of my life, man. Like because of that trip, I was quick to want to study abroad in Japan and then move to Korea. And I lived there for such a long time. So it really opened so many doors for me. Even though my parents may or may not realize it, it really did change my life. I hope you guys have a better understanding of this idiom, devil's advocate. If you do, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video.